It's a real-life retailer's prisoner dilemma. Welcome back. This is the fourth video in our Wallstreetbets status update, bringing you live updates as I get them, as I learn them. We have 3 other videos. The first one covers an 80+ person collaboration that we did online together, where we decided which one of these stocks we were going to squeeze. Now, obviously this was done in the past with GME, but there are a lot of new stocks that are being pushed on the Discord, and we wanted to confirm that there is actually squeeze potential in these. So if you are convinced that you think you should be investing in Nokia and BlackBerry for a squeeze, definitely check out that first video to tell you why not. It's only a long-term play. Our second and third video talk about everything you need to know with shorts, with squeezes, gives examples about Volkswagen, talks about puts, calls, just lots of information for you to understand the situation of what exactly is going on. This video, we're talking about the real-life prisoner's dilemma between sellers, buyers. Obviously, a lot of people are thinking Monday's the day. This is it. I want to cover that, why that's not the case, but also why it may be the case. Okay, if you haven't heard of the prisoner's dilemma, it's essentially a situation where you have 2 criminals that are being interrogated. Either one betrays the other, one gets off, and the other one goes to jail. If they both stay silent, they both go free. So here's how this applies to our current situation. You have sellers and buyers competing. You can view the buyers as like the cops, the interrogators, right? These are the hedge funds that are trying to cover their short positions. And the sellers, us, people who are holding those shares. And we're being interrogated for what is the lowest price that they can get. And just like in the prisoner's dilemma, it becomes the situation where the first one to cave gets the spoils, but at the same time, he screws over everyone else. Let me try to explain how this plays out. Basically, you have the buyers, the people needing to cover their shorts, going to everyone asking, hey, will you take $20? And if everyone says no, then they have to raise the price. Okay, will you take $25? Again, if everyone says no, they have to raise the price and raise the price. Because remember, these people have to buy. Now, the problem comes in when you get one of the sellers being like, you know what? That price actually good enough. I'm going to go ahead and sell my shares. Well, at that point, the buyer reduces the number of amount that they need left. As that trickle happens, as people continue to sell and continue to sell, instead of holding the line, what happens is the buyer eventually covers all of his position and no longer needs to buy. And the people who set the really high limit, they are going to end up losing, because at that point, nobody needs to buy the shares anymore. And then eventually the price will come down and they're going to be left holding the bag. You don't want to be left holding the bag, but at the same time, you also don't want to be the guy who sells super low and makes no money. There's actually a way here for us to get out of the collective prisoner's dilemma. If you think about how the Volkswagen squeeze happened, it worked because it was one singular company, Porsche in this case, who had the mass majority of shares. And so there was no competition. It was just them. There was no multiple of sellers that the buyer could go to. It was just one seller, and he can't prisoner dilemma himself. In this case, when there's millions of people all holding onto the share, all trying to hold a line, you get that trickle. You get that prisoner's dilemma effect. Technically, if somebody in the very beginning of this created a hedge fund and gathered everybody's money into one bucket, and then we just became one collective retail seller, then again, there's no competition and we are the sole prisoner, and we can get away because we're never going to sell at a low price. But sadly, that didn't happen. So the best second alternative is what we call a stepping sell limit order. And what that means is you have different sell orders at different price points. And so what you can do is have a low price point for just a few of them, and a little higher for a few more, and a little higher for a few more. And what that does is create this sort of gradient effect. If, for example, there's another prisoner out there who decides, hey, I'm going to sell actually pretty low, and all the shares that are required to buy get bought up, then you're not screwed because you sold at least a couple at that low price. It creates this bi-directional incentive. I don't want to sell too low because then I make no profit, but I also don't want to sell too high because then my shares will never get bought. With stepping sell orders, you have this effect of no matter what, some of your shares will be bought. At the low end of the steps, it's going to keep climbing. Eventually all shares will be needed, and you'll be left holding a tiny bag at the end. And again, the bag being the remaining shares that do not need to be bought, but you've already covered your initial investment and probably a lot more on the way up. So this step to limit order basically ensures that everyone gets a little piece of the pie, right? It does reduce the total profit potential that we're going to suck out of the companies that have short positions, but it does ensure that everyone gets a little piece of that pie. So then you get to the question, well, what is the spread? What's my low point? What's my high point? How do I step up? This is on you, right? It's on everybody, honestly. If everyone slided their step function from starting from 100 to 600, that's what it would be. If everyone does from 20 to 50, that's what it's going to be. So the question is, what do you think people are going to set their sell point at? I've seen on the Discord people saying to the moon, 500 shares for AMC, 5,000 for GME. I've also seen people say, I'm going to sell at 20 bucks. So, what is the spread that is good? I don't know. Again, completely up to you. Nobody knows, right? Nobody can get a feel for what everybody wants to do. Now, lastly, I just want to retouch on how long this would take. We know that by SEC regulations, these hedge funds are allowed 2 days to cover their positions. You can see them covering their sold call orders sometime today, sometime tomorrow, within there. But the options contracts are only a part of the pie. There's still all the short sellers that are left. That time duration can be a really long time. So what I'm going to do, put in my limit orders at various increments and just wait to see what happens. Almost for sure, the lower ones will close pretty quickly because the price will probably get to where I'm going to set that. But the longer ones are for maybe the long play, right? I let those ones sit out for a while, and when the short sellers have to cover their margin or they get tired of paying interest, or the lenders start forcing closing their positions based off the stock price rising, then those will eventually execute. But feel free to do whatever you want. Know the risks. I just want to cover this one more time. Know the risk. This is not a guaranteed investment, right? There's just so many variables that could happen. AMC could start selling more of their shares, which they're already planning on doing, which will influx the market with a lot of additional shares to be bought, reducing the price and allowing these short sellers to cover their positions. There's the potential that just Redditors aren't enough. There is also some upsides. It's potential that institutional investors see this AMC opportunity like they did with GME and start investing millions, if not billions, to raise the price. But again, only play with money that you're okay losing. I just want to stress that again. You may lose a significant portion of your investment here, and it is high risk. If you have further questions, definitely check out our Discord. It's in the comments below. I'm answering questions all the time there. We have a great community already started, and we'd love to have you as a part of it. New videos coming out after this are going to be a similar trend of research, learn, share, discuss, and grow. That's kind of like the mantra of my YouTube channel. If you're into that, feel free to subscribe. No pressure, obviously. And please share this information if you think it's valuable. I'm spamming the Discord constantly, trying to get people to get educated so that people don't lose money, right? We're all in this together. I want people to all succeed. And thanks so much. I'll catch you next time.